Hey, TikTok friends, it's your girl Nia. Listen, I have a very specific message for a very specific audience. So if this does not apply to you, then please, baby, let it fly. This message is for the older fellas, and maybe it's a warning for some of y'all who ain't so old yet. Listen, some of y'all wait until you in your 60s and you got high blood pressure, you got heart disease, you got arthritis, you got a bad back, your little wee wee don't work like it used to, you done gained all this weight, you can't see good, you can't move good, and that's when y'all are ready to settle down. Baby, listen, we are not interested in being hospice wives, okay? There are a lot of good women out here who are single and who have been ready and able to love a good man. But many of y'all play with our hearts. Y'all got to have all the other women and run around and play games and can't commit and all of that until your health gets to declining. Once your health is bad, then it's like, oh, I need me a good woman. I'm ready to settle down. Baby, listen, miss me with all of that. I'm just noticing a trend. That's all I'm going to say. I'm noticing a trend. Again, if it doesn't apply to you, let it fly. No reason for you to get triggered in my comments if it has nothing to do with you. But I will say this. If you think that you can run around in your good years and play with the heart of good people and waste the time of good people, and then when you're all alone and broken down and by yourself, decide, I'm going to get it together and I'm going to do right by her. And she's going to be okay with driving me to my appointments and picking up my prescriptions. Baby, you might just be in for a rude awakening. I did see recently on this lovely app how they were talking about how there's so many single black men living in nursing homes by themselves. Nobody's coming to visit them and they don't have family. And I'm not saying that's the only demographic that this happens to, but I think it's sad and it's unfortunate that it happens to anyone at all. So all I'm going to say is this. While you run around having a good old time in your youth, messing with people in your youth, think about how that's going to play out and what your karma is going to look like in your senior years. That's all I got. Love you. Bye.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? And I just want to comment on a video that I've just seen. I may try to insert it here into the video. And it's a recurring topic that a lot of females have been, or recurring talking point that a lot of females have been bringing up. They've been basically sending out a PSA to all men that's over 50, talking about, men over 50, they get to their older or golden years and then they all of a sudden want to settle down because now they're older, they're fatter, they look less attractive, body wise. Talking about we've let our bodies go. We've gotten older. We're on medications. They're using this thing like we're in wheelchairs. We've got diabetes and we need a in-house home care person, and we're looking for a woman to be our in-home care person. And then also too, now we have erectile dysfunction or ED, and we have all of these problems. And as we start to decline, now men are looking to settle down. And she's basically saying that they don't want us. And I'll agree with her on her point. So I'm not arguing those points at all. And then also and then she also brought up too, so let me bring this up too, is that she said that the men are going into old folks' homes, and I hear a lot of women making this talking point. A lot of women are making a talking point that men are going into old folks' homes and we're going in there and dying alone and no one's coming to visit us and we're lonely. And I'm not going to refute anything she says. I don't know what the statistics are on the old folks' home thing, but I can agree with her and I can believe it, and I'm going to tell you all why. But let's just address the first initial portion of this. And the first initial portion is she's absolutely correct. Possibly, I can't say what a woman's truth is. And I do believe that, people do waste or squander their good years, being out in the streets, as people want to say. But that goes both ways. Women do the same thing, especially if a woman is really attractive, then they stay out and they don't want to settle down. They're willing to have children. They're willing to have children and because they don't want to put their fertility on pause. So they'll have one, two, or multiple children by one or multiple men. And then when they get into their like 30s and 40s, then they're ready to start settling down. And they expect men to assume the responsibility of these children that were not fathered by them. Also, too, when women get older, they get less attractive as well. Most of us, I'm just talking about the average, most of us, there are very few women. There's one woman that's on the internet. She does this vegan cooking, and I think she's like 70 something years of age, and she looks very good. There are a few people who can age very, very well. I thought Gladys Knight actually ages very well. Angela Bassett's aging very well. But for the most part, a lot of us, we do let ourselves go. And this is women included. Women, you get older. I'm looking at women, you're heavier. Women, you're once you start having multiple kids, you don't have as much quote unquote wall as you think that you have. You're not as tight down there. It's not a snug fit. It can be a little drier. But of course you can use, additional tools to help lubricate yourself up. And then you go through, menopausal activities as you get older. And so we both genders have health and cosmetic issues as we get older. I think one of the bigger differences is because trust me, I've seen it, and I keep telling y'all about the female that I know that has a debilitating disease. She still thinks that just because she has a nice body, that any and everyone is going to take her. And she is very picky. I'm telling you, this girl can't even walk straight. She stumbles, she shakes like Muhammad Ali, and like when you talk to her, you'll think that she's the finest thing walking planet Earth. She's my ex, and you'll think that she's the finest thing walking planet Earth. She talks about how guys that see her in the streets and talk about how thick she is and all this other stuff. But no one is marrying this woman, and she's in the house all the time. That's beside the point. But the point that I'm making is we both age and we both have problems. As every human being gets older, you're going to run into problems. You're going to run into possibly cancer, dementia, Alzheimer's. You're going to run into all of this type of stuff as you get older. And so to address the second part of what she's stating is that men are going into nursing homes and dying alone. I've heard several women make that argument. I've heard multiple women online make that argument. And so I'm not going to disagree. I cannot disagree. I don't know people in elder care or senior facilities. So I really can't speak on it. I only knew one person, and that was a female, but they were related to me. But the thing that I'm going to say about that is this. The reason why that may be the case, I'm just going to provide a hypothetical here because, once again, I don't know too many men in elder care facilities or senior facilities. But men, typically, there's two things that go on with men. Men, we don't keep up our fellowships, and we don't fellowship like we did when we were single. Like when you're young and when you're a young male that's single, you have about 10, 12 friends, and you just keep the party going. But as you start getting older, men start to really seclude themselves and they isolate themselves a lot, especially when you get married. Men, you don't keep up with your other friends, especially if they're single. And then your married friends, they have their own lives. They're worried about, making, providing for their family. Men are like driven as far as career driven, at least the men that I know. So we all, we may text each other like once every 2 months just to text and say, hey, what's up? We'll do stuff like that. But then we don't really necessarily get together like we should, but we still consider each other best friends. But men don't get together like that. But women, the one good thing I can say about women is they're definitely going to fellowship. Women definitely, they're going to keep their the sisterhoods going. They're going to go to brunches. They're going to find ways to celebrate and party. That's why they use their birthdays as a means to have 3-day parties, 5-day parties, girls' trips, and do all of this stuff, because women will keep their parties going. So that's the one thing that men isolate themselves. So when you see a man in a home, and then also too, like I said, people don't care about men and fathers that much. People don't really care about men too much. So when you look at like other, generations, everyone cares about the maternal side. So if a woman has children and she's in a home, kids are definitely going to go see mom. they're going to go see mama more so than they're going to go see dad. But then also, I'm going to say this. And like I said, men isolate themselves too. Men don't keep in contact as much as they do, even with their children, as a woman would. Not to say that they don't care about their kids, but they're not going to ping them every week. They may ping them every other week or, something to that effect. I'm talking about grown kids. When your kids are grown and they're off into the world, you're not calling them every other day. But I know, because I'm speaking from experience, I know my father, me and him talk, but it's not as much as me and my mother. So that's another thing. And then also the final thing, my final hypothetical on this is, to be honest with you, like I said, men like to be left alone and men don't like to be burdens onto others. That's the biggest thing. So a man, like I said, once a man gets into a home, an old folks home, he just looks at it as, this is my home. He's going to operate the same way he would as if he was living in his own home. And living in a senior facility, you're living in your own room. They're just going to do the same thing that they were doing. Watch TV, stay to themselves, and just count the days. Women are more so going to be dependents. Women revert back to being a dependent, and they make family feel obligated to take care of them. Primarily if they have children. When a woman gets older, she expects one of her kids to say, I can live with you. I can live in your house, in your basement with you. That's what women expect. They expect for a kid to take care of them. If the kids don't take care of them, then they're probably going to link up with, one or two of their female friends, and they're going to, cohabitate and share a home together, a house together. Or if they do go into a home, they're going to be pinging their children and or relatives to come and visit them. So that's why they get a lot of visitors and men don't. So that's all I wanted to really say on the subject matter. And once again, this isn't a shot taken at anyone. I just wanted to provide a clarification or just chime in and add my 2 cents to that conversation that I keep hearing about. So this is the Political Brown Kid. Hope everyone's having a good day. Leave comments in the comment section. Also hit the like and subscribe. I'm out.